Hello. Thanks for attending our virtual overview of Willard Library's databases. My name is Vicki, and today I am going to focus on the databases you can use from home. With winter coming, we do not want you to have to put your research on hold. With the information you will gain today, you won't have to. Our databases do require a Willard Library card. Cards are free to anyone who works, lives, or goes to school in Indiana. If you are not fortunate enough to be a Hoosier, you can still get a card for $35 a year. Please call or email to learn more. Our contact information is on the website and also below. Let's get started. The first step in using the databases is to find them. In your computer's browser bar, enter www.willard.lib.in.us. There is one other Willard library in the United States, so be sure that you land on our page. Theirs is very different in appearance, so you will know if you end up in the wrong place. Once we reach our landing page, there are two ways to access the databases. The first is through the Research tab. If you hover your mouse over Research like this, you will see these options. Pull the mouse down to Online Databases, and you will find these options. Some of these are of more general interest, but most are useful for genealogy. Don't forget to check the second page. If you return to the top page of the page and hover over the Research tab again, you will see Local Digital Archives. These do not require a Willard Library card to use. Technically, these aren't databases. They are digital copies or indexes of some of our holdings. As you can see, some of these are of local general interest. Many of them, however, are beneficial for genealogists. Let's start at the bottom with the marriage index. If your ancestor was married in Vanderburgh County, we probably have their marriage license or application on microfilm at Willard. Having the application provides you with a multitude of information, including birthdays and places, and parent information. It's easy to use this index. Put in the information you have, and then click Enter. I'm assuming someone named John Smith got married in Evansville at some point. And look at that. It also searches if you only have a last name. Once you determine which of these is your John Smith, note the page and volume numbers. At this point, if you can't get to the library, email us that information and we will email you a copy of the document you requested. Now, sometimes we only have the license. That's disappointing as it won't include any information on parentage, but it might list the name of the clergyman who married them. You can plug this information into the minister's index and possibly learn where they attended church. Again, I'm making an assumption that there was a Brown in ministry at some point. Seems like a reasonable assumption. We have 5 possibilities. The dates will help you narrow it down from here, as will the geography. In the past, people generally went to church close to home. Once you determine which church your family likely attended, you can come into the library and go through any church records we may have, and we have a lot, looking for other family members, baptisms, marriages, or deaths. The church index is also helpful. Assuming you know what denomination your family was, what time period they live here, you can use that information to narrow down the potential church or churches they may have attended, and therefore which records you should be searching. The second way to access our databases is through the genealogy page. This is the method I will use today. Hover your mouse over the Genealogy tab and then pull it down to Research Tools and click. I like this better than the first one I showed you because it's all on one page and it only includes genealogy related databases. The first database I want to show you today is Heritage Quest. If you are familiar with Ancestry, you should have no trouble using Heritage Quest. They are owned by the same people and function in a very similar manner. When accessing it from home, you do need to input your Willard library card number. This can be found on the barcode on the back of your card. As you can see, there is a strong resemblance to Ancestry. However, unlike Ancestry, you need to know what you're looking for. You can't just put in a name and see what comes up. You have to have a planned search. In this case, I'm going to stick with John Smith and let's look for a census record. I'm pretty sure he was born in Indiana around 1910 and that at some point he probably lived in Evansville. So let's see what we find. And there we go. Look at all of these John Smiths who lived in Indiana and were born in 1910. So we're going to choose one of the censuses. How about, we'll choose this one. And assuming that this is our guy, we just hover our mouse, we don't have to click, and we can see the answers to most of the census questions as well as the household members. If these household members match what I know about him, I have the right guy. I can click on the image, and now I have all of their answers to the census questions. I can see who their neighbors were, and I can verify that this transcription is correct. Okay, so let's return to Willard's website and take a look at Fold 3. This is a military database. There are records and stories here from all of America's wars. You can find draft cards, which list the closest family member, pension files, which will often list wives, service records, and more. The biggest challenge is figuring out which John Smith was yours. Even with a less common name, such as John Chappell, it can be a challenge. 19,000 is a bit much. I can narrow it down some. First, by war. That's better. Then, by state. And I've gone from thousands to 105. From here, it's plain old detective work, looking at every record to determine if it fits. We don't have time for that today, so back to Willard. We are going to skip over Ancestry for today. As it is for in-library use only, we will be happy to help you when you come to visit. Stay tuned, we may focus on Ancestry at another time. The African American Heritage Database is next. It is owned by ProQuest, the same company that owns Ancestry and Heritage Quest, so its functionality should be somewhat familiar. However, it goes deeper than those databases. At first glance, there isn't much here. But it is kind of like those nesting dolls. Every time you open a link, you find more links. The best place that I have found to start is with the Beginner's Guide. And you can get to the Beginner's Guide by clicking on Community and then Beginner's Guide. This is a comprehensive yet simple introduction to doing African American genealogy online. If you are interested in finding other researchers, you can use the surname index. At the top, you will find message boards. There are a lot of different types of message boards here that can help you with your research, as well as learning how to do different types of research. You can also, on the index, you can search a name, and then you can be connected with others who are researching that same name. And of course, there are the basics. If you scroll back to the top of the page and go to the search page, you can search these items as well. This is a database that leads to other sources. So you have to be willing to dig a little, but it's very much worth the effort. Archivesunbound is one of my favorite sites. This isn't your typical genealogy database in that you're not going to find birth certificates, wills, or land grants, but you will find history. It is so much fun to find your ancestor in a history book. Early in my research, I became curious about one of my ancestors. I knew he had come from Germany to Missouri, but I had heard a rumor that he made a stop in Indiana. So I looked for him, and I was quite surprised to find that the rumor was true. When I open the history book that includes my ancestor's name, I click on the little number here, and that's the page number. And any place that he will have shown up in the book, it'll be highlighted and it'll take me right to it, which makes things a lot easier. Now, clearly this doesn't tell me much about him, but it led me to search further, and I found him in other history books as well. Next, we visit History Geo. This is the same information as is found in all of those spiral-bound county plat books on our shelves, but it includes so much more. Let's start with the first Landowners Project. I'm going to cheat and do a search that I know works. We are looking for George Fenton in southern Illinois. Now, I'm going to click on this because I know it's the right general vicinity. Now I'm going to click on this little man here. I can see his land and where it is on the map, and that's helpful. But if I click again, I get the exact location, the county, latitude and longitude section, and even the acquisition date. And that's cool. What else can I find? How about the original land patent? Or how about the Bureau of Land Management Records? Or how about we take a look at where the land is now and get a satellite view? Or better yet, let's just take a little walk on my ancestors' land. Doesn't look like it's changed very much. We are skipping JSTOR for now because it is another one of those that are only available in the library. But if you get a chance to come in and use it, it's similar to Archives Unlimited, but with a lot more options and sources. I found a journal here from the 1800s with an article about my family. It's worth checking out. Now, MyHeritage works much like Ancestry with a lot more family trees. When you click to enter the site, of course it requires our library card number, but when you get into the site itself, don't try to click the logo, it won't work. Just click on the words MyHeritage. So let's revisit Mr. Smith. We can narrow down our search on the left. We're going to input a lot of the same information here that we did with the other search engines. We should input we should probably input where he was born, or where we think he was born, probably in Indiana. And then we're going to say a birth, and then we'll go with 1910, I believe is what we did before. And we're going to get a lot of hits. So at that point, we have a choice. We can narrow it down over here on the left-hand side. We can have a lot of different options that will eliminate a lot of others. Or we can just scroll through and see what we can find. Let's see what we have here. Here we've got a census. It's got information on who we lived with, who we lived near. Just like before, we can zoom in and out. It's easy to use. But another function that this one has that many of the others don't is up here on the right-hand side, we can click on Summary, and that's going to give us more information that's more specific to our search. So, if you're only looking for, say, births or deaths or information from England or Australia, you can choose from these and it will eliminate everything else. Now, the more specific that you search, of course, the more accurate your results are going to be. So why don't we go back and see if we can narrow this down any at all. Let's give Mr. Smith a daughter. We'll name her Sarah. That's a good name. And then let's give him a middle name. How about Anthony? See if we can find John Anthony. That's going to give us more information for our search. And look at that. We've got John Anthony Smith. Now when we open it up, it's got information on his family. So there you go. The more information you input, the better results you're going to get. Finally, let's check out Newspaperscom. Remember, you have to input the barcode number from the back of your library card. Start with the introduction over here on the right-hand side. Once you've watched that, there are a number of other tutorials that you may find helpful. I probably don't have to tell you the benefits of old newspapers in your genealogy research, but allow me to remind you of some of the benefits of obituaries, marriage and birth announcements, and even just everyday happenings in a paper. Let's search for Marie Maley. Now, I think we probably want to narrow it down some, so let's do an advanced search, and we can add our place, which first will be Macon, Missouri. And I'm going to search her entire lifespan when I search down here. So I'm going to put in her birth year, which is 1913. I'm going to go to 2007. Now you can see as you scroll through all of these hits, you can find out so much about your ancestor through the newspaper. Many of these are nothing more than a report of a Sunday school picnic or a shopping trip that she took with her mother, or that she went, to a party. But then when I add her husband's name and search again, I get the wedding announcement. You open this wedding announcement and look through it, it has the names of the people who were in attendance, but it also gives us information on who they were, what kind of clothing she wore, what food was served, what music was sung. It's as good, if not better, than an obituary as far as information on their parents. Now, speaking of obituaries, let me take one of these names off here and then search again. But this time, I'm going to go over to the new search platform that is just being brought live through Newspaperscom, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to search for an obituary. Her obituary won't actually be on here, but you can see how easy it would be to click to have a notification sent to me if it is ever added. Let's return to the library one more time. It looks like we are done. These databases can be used together to help you with your genealogy research this winter. When the roads are bad, the wind is cold, and you just don't want to leave your warm homes. We'll miss you, but we want you to stay safe. Thank you for joining me today. This was just a basic overview of the databases available to you through Willard Library. It was by no means a comprehensive tutorial. If you have questions, please feel free to post them below and they will be answered as soon as possible. Please check back for future programs. Thank you.